Now, the energy transition is happening all around the world, and things have improved. The technology is getting cheaper, and there's more awareness. But there's one key element that needs to happen. It's to make sure that renewable energy and fossil fuel are on the equal footing, which means that you have to remove the fossil fuel subsidy so that you can move the channel the resources that's been dedicated for fossil fuel subsidy, which amounts to hundreds of billions of dollars a year, to be channeled to financing renewable energy technologies. And that will definitely scale up the efforts that's needed for transitioning the energy security to the renewable energy space. $6 trillion is based on what the development needs are for energy security, for renewable energy. It is very, very ambitious, but it's possible. But for that to happen, you need to mobilize every player that's working in that energy space, which means the development banks, the DFIs, development finance institutions, and the private sector all have to come in together. And there's one critical player that has not been working as closely with these other two. That's the philanthropies. That's where we come from, the Global Energy Alliance for People Planet. These players have to stack each other's financing so that the millions of dollars from the philanthropies can be translated into billions by bringing in the multilaterals. And then that can trigger trillions of dollars into investments into clean energy and renewable energy space. Targets that we set up is a very ambitious to be reached by 2030 by the alliance that we created. So right now we are about 3 years into the establishment of the organization, and we are in the process of setting up the foundation of the alliance. So that basically means that we have over 50 plus alliance partners that's working in this group. And we are making sure that we have the same vision to decarbonize by 4 gigatons of CO2 reduction and electrifying 1 billion people and creating 150 million jobs. So as I said earlier, we are successful in establishing the foundation of the alliance so that we can start deploying the resources, not just from our perspective, but the resources that's combining the philanthropies, multilaterals, DFIs, and the private sector. So creating this public, private, and philanthropy partnership is something that we are doing right now so that we can meet the 2030 goals. But there's a lot of money out there that's floating around the world. But as you said, most of the money is floating to the developed countries. That's because of the perceived risk of putting money into the developing countries. To address that, there are a number of things we can do, and we've been working on this. One is to develop the pipeline of bankable projects in the developing countries in the renewable space so that the private capital can come in and make profit and return the money. The other thing is making sure that there's an enabling environment in the developing countries, whether it's a regulatory framework that's needed for the private capital to flow in and out, and also building the capacity of the local government to be able to manage the financing is critical. And also getting the electricity to the people in the developing country is step one. But there's a second step that needs to be urgently taken, which is making sure that the energy that's reaching the people in the developing country can translate into productive economy for the people on the ground. So we call that the productive use of energy to uplift the livelihood of the poor people. So getting the electricity to the people and then making sure that the electricity can translate into productive economic activities are key. And for example, providing electricity to the farmers so that they can use the electricity to irrigate their farms in a much more efficient way, helping the fishermen to be able to use the electricity to have cold storage so that they can save the fishes that they catch so that they have higher income. So having this is the ultimate goal, not just getting the electricity to the people. I mean, no matter what happens in the geopolitics, the climate change will continue to happen unless we invest into clean energy space. So the same thing applies. No matter what the political environment is, we have to make sure that we build the capacity of the developing countries to be able to digest and absorb the financing to be invested into the clean energy. And as I mentioned, we need to continue to develop the projects on the ground to make it bankable. And we also have to make sure that there are some de-risking investments that we can do so that we can reduce the risk of investment for private sector investors.